It upsets me. It's something that makes me feel ashamed to be a male because typically males is your perpetrators and offenders. It's something that saddens me that we treat our women and children this way. Um, though it's not just women and children that experience gender-based violence, there are some males, but typically it's your women and children. Yeah. So there's quite a few of those. I grew up in the flats, which is similar to, for the US folks, similar to the projects. And you saw this happening all the time. The one that stands out for me is a drug merchant, drug dealer, selling drugs, and he would use his girlfriend as a storage. To be more descriptive, he would hide the drugs in her private parts so that when the police come and the police does a search, they won't find the drugs on her because it's in her. And she was okay with it because, I don't know if she was okay or whether she was just in fear. Because when they fought, she was always the one who got the bottom end of the stick and ended up in hospital and that type of thing. So I saw that happen quite often, living in the flats or living in the projects. So many women got beaten up by their husbands and their partners. Children, being sworn at and being, just treated like they don't exist. I wish there was a button that we can push to stop this. To say okay, cancel, or let's go back to the default or whatever. It's really something that saddens me because I see the impact every day. The children who sees this happening at home come to club and they want to fight with each other all the time because that's what mommy and daddy does, or that's what someone in the home is fighting with someone. And generally and typically it is the boy that's fighting with the girl, and they don't understand how that is wrong because it's something that is practiced at home, to the point where like in some cultures it's about power. In some of our communities it's not about power, it's just a normal thing. It's an abnormal thing that has become a normal thing, a way of life. That if you have a problem, if you have an issue, and your girlfriend and your wife is not agreeing with you or feeling the same way you feel, you just hit them to the point where they agree with you. You just hit them to the point where they accept your way and what you think and what you feel. Now during the lockdown, the domestic violence and the intimate partner violence and the violence against children and women and gender-based violence went up drastically because people were in confined spaces with their partners, with their husbands, and they had nothing to do. Thankfully, we had the alcohol ban, and within days of the alcohol ban being lifted, the cases increased again. So you had the increase due to lockdown, and then you had another increase on top of the increase once the alcohol ban was lifted. So yeah, it's not a cool thing. It's not a cool thing. I think, like I said, in some cultures it's about power, but I think for a lot of us it's what we were taught. That it's okay to hit a woman. It's okay, to lift your hand for the opposite sex. There's no more that pride and that understanding that as men we need to protect our woman and we need to protect every woman. I remember of a typical situation where a 13-year-old had a problem with a girl, and the girl was annoying him because he likes him, not because he wanted to harm him and she was hitting him, but she was doing it because she likes him. And I had to stop a fight between the two of them. And he said to me, no, my mom said that I must never allow any person to hit me, whether that's a male or a female. And then I found out, that the mom was a sufferer, a victim of gender-based violence. So it has become so normal in our homes, particularly in your colored and black communities. It's become so normal that children, as they grow up, boys as they grow up, just accept that that's how they show love. I think typically in South Africa, a lot of programs or initiatives or interventions is aimed at the victim. And I'm not saying there shouldn't be programs for victims, there should always be programs for victims. But I think equally we need to focus on the perpetrators. And looking at gender-based violence, I think there needs to be a lot more men and boys programs. Here at Living Up, we cater for both male and female when we do our life skills programs, or we do our after school programs, we do our holiday club programs, or we do our school and ECT programs. But I think at some point, once Living Up have the resources, funds and manpower, being the life skills manager, I'm going to propose that we invest more in men and boys and men programs. It might be something that's housed with life skills, or it might be housed with another department, but it's something I am going to propose that we do more of. It's a gap in the Living Up ministries, that we don't have programs that specifically focus on boys and men, and how to groom them, and how to groom them to be men and boys who look after their families and make the right decisions, godly decisions, or publicly valued decisions in terms of how to protect your family and protect the people in your lives that you love, whether that's a male or a female, a brother or a sister, a husband or a wife, but how to protect, the humans